Hey guys, welcome to the worst beginning of a podcast ever because I've got a producer who doesn't listen to a goddamn thing. This is the Rockpile Report, and I'm your host, Drew Gear. I work with a guy who's just, his autism knows no bounds, and it's hilarious. But don't worry, we'll be fine. We'll settle in here. This is like one of those things where mom and dad are going to yell at each other, and the kids at the table just have to sit there and go, oh God, I hope he doesn't throw that plate.
Well, we know that you've been known to throw a couple plates of manicotti.
Yes.
Up and around the dinner table. I spent my weekend doing bourbon raffles. I did pull out this beautiful bottle of Eagle Rare. We should start doing this so I can start to get clout bottles. Would be a nice thing. So if you live in the North Towns in Tonawanda, I know how much we bag on Tonawanda, but if you live in Tonawanda, go to Midnight Liquors. Tell them that we sent you. You heard about it on our show, that they have a great bourbon selection. Or if you live where our lawyer lives in Lancaster, they just opened a brand new store, Buffalo Barrel Wine and Liquor. It used to be Yellow Brick. I went there for their grand opening, and I got a bottle of Weller's Special Reserve that is over there on the shelf. And then along with this Eagle Rare, I did win a bottle of 1792 Sweet Wheat, which isn't too bad of a bourbon. I'm a huge fan of those 1792s. And if you're going to the Eagle game, you come to our tailgate. We're doing a bourbon tasting on Sunday, so that should be fun. But I mean, we got to start with the game before we get into our grievances, because I can tell you, Friday I listened to Adam Shine on XM, and they picked the games on the spread. And Adam Shine, his producer, everybody on staff that is in on the bit, they do picks against the spread. Every single one of them picked Buffalo minus 10.5. They were like, oh, Buffalo's just going to straight up roll down Cleveland and beat them by 10.5. And I'm at work. I'm listening to them. I'm like, there is no way Cleveland is going to lose by 11 points to Buffalo. We've seen Cleveland-Buffalo games before. We know how this goes. 8-0, 6-3, that Phil Dawson kick on Monday Night Football. The Jeff Toole, Brandon Whedon game on Thursday Night Football. These games never end well. So Buffalo being favored by 10.5, I mean, I don't think I told anybody in the preview to put their money on that game, but I hope people took Cleveland, because that was as a Billsy and Brownsy of a game that we can get and that we've had in our history with everything that happened in that game. We did a reversal. We had a great first half and a shit second half, but there's a lot to get to.
We do have a lot to get to. And I love that I get to roll into this podcast. We started hot, live, and everyone's like, oh man, Drew's really laying into Chris. And now I have to feel like, what's his face from Half Baked? Where he comes in, he yells at all of his roommates. Dave Chappelle's character.
Yeah.
He comes in, and then he hits a joint and looks around the room and goes, I'm sorry for yelling. Chris, I'm sorry for yelling. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody watching live, to Chris.
I'm going to fill in on everybody. We'll go fourth wall here. That might have been the longest I've talked in a long time on the podcast straight.
I'm impressed.
I have Drew over here just getting whiskey out of the coffee table that unfortunately you guys can't see on camera, and putting the laptop into the HDMI on our... We have 5 TVs in here like this that you guys can't see. I got one to my left, 2 right in front of me, left, at 11 and 1 o'clock, and then I got one over here at 3 o'clock. There's one directly in front of me that faces Drew that we just bought. So yeah, that's the longest I've talked. I think I've talked so long. I now host the show. This is my show. I'm the host.
This is my show.
I'm the host. You get over here and produce.
I literally said to Chris as I was walking out of the room, I was like, Chris, don't argue with me about the creative aspects of this podcast. And then there goes Chris, just vamping, holding down the fort while I sit over here and just mired in hackery.
Well, you're trying to get ready, so,
It's a hell of a thing, and this is why Chris and I work so well together. We can have these sorts of disputes that I think most other people would genuinely be hurt by. We can say really mean things to each other, but because we're both dead inside, it doesn't matter. We just have a drink and move on. It's a lot of fun, guys. We have a lot to get to tonight. We have a big show, and first of all, again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody out there who's watching live, everybody who's listening. I want you to know that Festivus is a holiday I take very seriously. As a petty person, I do carry around a lot of axes to grind. Like, I've got a lot of problems with a lot of people, and I'll take any opportunity I can to vent them. But first, we do have to talk about this Browns game. And I love that I'm not alone. Jeremy Rogers, my first game at the Ralph was a Browns game where we held them to 17 effing yards. Love it. Like, it's like,
what? That was the, what was that? That was, Derek Anderson went like 2 of 17 for 17 yards or 2 of 19. He had like 2 or 3 completions in that game.
I like this. Chris is getting a new show, like the security guard from the Springer Show. the Steve Wilkos show. Yeah. That's it. This one moment gave Chris an ego. Now he's going to run away. He's going to run his own podcast. He doesn't even need guests or a co-host. He's going to be like Jim Rome, where he just says like one word. Rugula. And then he'll like Jim Rome's cadence has always bugged me. I've got an axe to grind with that guy, but we've got way too much to get to tonight for me to be derailed by that. We have to talk about this Browns game. Before we can get into all of the Festivus celebration, we have to talk about this Browns game, and I'm going to speed run it for you all because I love you. This is your Week 16 recap. The Buffalo Bills 23, the Browns 20. I've got some notable numbers, Chris. Let's see if you can figure out what they mean. The number 11.
It's how many drinks I had on Sunday.
It's the number of missed tackles that the Buffalo Bills committed as a football team. Literally 1/6 of their entire season total. The number 31. What do we got?
Rushing yards in the second half.
It's the number of yards that Shedeur Sanders threw for that wasn't considered yards after the catch. 31 yards. What about the number 95, Chris? What do I got?
That's Myles Garrett, and he did not break the record.
No, he did not. It was also Josh Allen's net passing yards, a 2025 season low. I like this Jeremy Wright. Who's in the comments says, I wish we could have speed run the game. Joe Fryer in the comments. Awesome. 0. What's the number 0, Chris?
Amount of days I'll be sober through the rest of the year.
That's probably true, but also it's the number of times that I felt the need to hit Twitter during that game. That's right, guys. The person who's made themselves sort of infamous, if that's what you want to call it, because famous means, when you use the word famous, it means you did something that you're well known for and people like you for it. I don't think that's how I would describe what we've done with our social media presence here in the year 2025.
No.
No. I didn't tweet a single time, and I didn't even feel compelled to pick up my phone and say anything. In fact, I was calm. I had one cocktail with my father-in-law, and then I had like a beer with dinner. I had a relatively tame day, but that's because I knew this was coming. Chris, I warned you. I warned you this was coming, and a lot of you laughed. No one believed. Adam Shine and his stupid crew back in their studio going, oh, this is going to be a boat race. They don't know. They don't know what we know, right?
Yeah. Have you seen the Saints game this year?
Well, no, not even that. Every single one of you who tuned in last week, all the social media optimists, the fans who spent their hard-earned money traveling to Ohio to watch this nonsense in person, I warned all of you. I warned every single one of you that this game was coming, and no one listened to me. If you were upset or exasperated or disappointed at any point in time with what you were seeing on TV during the 60 minutes of the game that they played on Sunday, you only have yourself to blame for that. Because the Bills and the Browns are like uranium and plutonium. They're individually fascinating. Hard to wrap your head around sometimes, just the reality of their existence. And when you put them together, the result is explosively hazardous to everybody's health. When I was in my early 20s, Chris, I'm going to tell you a story. Everybody strap in, cozy around the fire while I tell a story. When I was in my early 20s, I was rummaging through my cupboard and I found a bag of marshmallows. Not just any marshmallows. Those coconut shaving, like encrusted marshmallows. I think Jet Puff brand, if I remember that correctly. And I was really excited. You know, I'm sitting in a bachelor pad apartment. I'm like, oh, this is the best. I forgot I had these. I'm going to sit down in the recliner. I'm going to go throw a little TV on there. I think I was watching hockey. I think it was during a Sabres game. And I take that first one out and I pop it in my mouth and I take a bite out of it. I bite it in half and I'm chewing and what I'm tasting is sour, right? Like, it's like, there's a tang here. Something I can't quite, there's something in this. And then I look at the marshmallow. Do you know what was in there?
What?
Half an ant. Apparently ants had gotten into my kitchen and had gotten into the bag of marshmallows and one of them burrowed into the marshmallow and got stuck. And I bit it in half. Now, I'd like to sit here and tell you all that I spat it out. Threw the bag away. Maintained some semblance of pride or self-respect. But that's not who I am and that's not how this story ends. Chris, I chewed that piece and I swallowed it. And I ate the other half. And then I went back in for more. And yes, I did find another ant-filled marshmallow pretty quickly. It was bad. And there I sat in my chair playing Russian roulette with a bag of mushrooms. I keep saying mushrooms. It's marshmallows that may or may not have had ants in them. And it was terrible. I tell you this story, not just because I have no shame and I don't care what you think about me, but also that's what consuming this football game was. It's you sitting on your couch eating ant-filled marshmallows, even though you know you should stop. You're just too lazy or just too masochistic to care. And you continue to subject yourself to it, even though it's not good for your mental health.
Well, you know what? You haven't lived until you're 40 years old and you go under the kitchen table to polish off a whole bottle of Flintstone vitamins and then have to get your stomach pumped. That's living.
I like Mike Partham in the comments. It's funny that Drew has beef with Jim Rome because he could literally tell Rome that during his weekly What's Your Beef segment. I'm going to call Jim Rome. It'll be hilarious. Anyways, there's nobody who walked away from that game, regardless of where your allegiances lie or what team you root for, who didn't leave it without a little twang, a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth. And yet every single one of you consumed it all anyway. Again, speed run the recap because there's not a whole lot about this. There's not a whole lot I want to talk about this. I just made a list of the stupidity. Let's talk about this latest iteration of Bills versus Browns and every stupid thing that happened. And by the time I'm done, if it doesn't shape the way that you view not just this Bills Browns game, but every future game that comes up on our schedule between these two teams, I don't know what to tell you. First of all, Chris, the Bills defense, they allowed more passing yards to Shedeur Sanders on that opening drive than he had in his entire game against Chicago. And then he capped it off with a touchdown pass. The Bills' most consistent linebacker suffered a neck injury that immediately threw our new look linebacker core like into the wind. Like, for those of you at home who didn't notice, the Bills kind of rolled out what their idea is going to be if everybody's healthy in the playoffs at linebacker. They played base defense. And when it was base defense, do you know who came off the field? Matt Milano. In base defense, everything, the guys over at Hashtag Sports have been pounding the table saying that they said this first. I don't know whether they did or not, but I'll give them credit for it. Terrell Bernard is kind of a weak side linebacker. And it's damning to know that you paid him like a middle linebacker. You gave him the C like he's a middle linebacker. You gave him play calling duties like he's a middle linebacker. And then when a real middle linebacker joins the team, you go, oh, shit, well, we should probably slide him over to weak side. That's not great. That doesn't speak well to the coaching staff's ability to really kind of evaluate the talent that it has on hand. But so you saw what they wanted to do, and then that immediately got thrown out the window. So kudos to them. Also, Browns running back Quinshon Judkins was part of the dumbest interception I've seen in a while. Like, we've all seen picks where the ball hits a guy in the hands and it flies up in the air, but I've never seen one get that much air off just hands. It literally looked like he straight up like volleyball just set it like there was a net and he was waiting for somebody to spike it. This was the audio from the Holy Shh podcast, who live streams the Browns games.
2nd and 13. Shador have been pretty accurate. The run game been solid. No complaints. Too soon. Spoke too soon. Accurate pass by Shador. Hits Judkins right in the goddamn noggin, but he can't catch the ball. Pops up, interception. Bills got the goddamn ball.
Put this right in the script.
Right on the money. Look at this. If it hits your hands, you gotta catch it.
The Browns were
Catch it.
once again.
Shit.
It's one of the things. They're looking pretty good. Oh, Chris, you can't script that kind of audio.
I believe it was, we had 3 batted balls and 2 of them were intercepted, I believe is how that went for Buffalo on Sunday.
Now, the pass he's describing from Shedeur Sanders was a little bit behind the running back.
Looked like it hit him in the shoulder.
But the casual acceptance of that play where he was like, oh, everything looks good. Look at this thing. We're doing it. Oh, there it is. There's the inevitable clowning, the inevitable kick in the teeth that I should have seen coming because I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. I think that's the best part. There was no viral tantrum. He didn't do this thing all these TikTok kids are doing where he flips his chair over and flails and thrashes. Instead, it was just a dude who's resigned to, there it is. I shouldn't have opened my big mouth. Of course, as soon as I heap praise on these guys, they will prove that they can suck again.
That was the greatest play-by-play I've heard in a long time. Barber in the comments. There you go.
It's just one of the funniest clips to stumble across on social media. Also, Shedeur Sanders just loses a fingernail and has to leave the game, resulting in a punt. And then Allen rolls it, and we're all clapping, going, all right, they're down a quarterback. You know, their quarterback's banged up. He comes out. He doesn't look like he can throw the ball well. This is going to bode well because we have a healthy quarterback and they don't. Spoke too soon. Spoke too soon, just like the host of the Holy Shh podcast. We spoke too soon. Immediately, Allen gets injured. Now he's largely ineffective throwing the ball for an entire half of football. It's like one of those things where you see it and you look up at the ceiling and you go, I'm real glad we're doing this today. Awesome. Great. Wonderful.
How did you take in the game? How did you watch it?
I watched it in my living room with my father-in-law and my children.
See, I watched it down here in the basement with the lights off because I kind of had a feeling I knew what was going to happen.
As should everybody.
No lights on in the dark.
If you have ever watched a Bills-Browns game, you had to know this was coming. That's why I was like, listen, my youngest is sick. I'm going to have the in-laws over and we're just going to hang out. Why? Because I don't want to cuss in front of, like, I know their presence. My mother-in-law being around will keep me from cussing too violently. And in the meantime, like, that's the best you can hope for on a day like that. And it worked. The only look at how the game gets dumber, Chris, as it goes on. The only bright spot on offense for the Browns this season has been Quinshon Judkins. He gets his leg shattered by Matt Milano.
Yeah, it's so bad they didn't replay it.
Matt Milano shatters this guy's leg, which can only mean one thing. Matt Milano, right ahead of the playoffs, is back in vintage form. Look at, he's gone back to getting sacks. He's generating tackles for loss, and he's maiming people on a football field. This is the quintessential Matt Milano. The Bills pass catchers put on a clinic in how not to secure the ball. They were only credited with 3 drops, but I feel like that number should have been higher. And some of them were just absolute brain farts. Like, you've got Cook, who, if he catches that ball, he's off to the races. And instead, he's so worried about his cut, he just doesn't catch the ball. The Dawson Knox drop in the end zone on 4th down, that pass was so much simpler than the one that you caught the previous week. But, of course, it's a Browns game. So he can't catch that ball. Why would he? Michael Badgley, I don't know, some genius podcaster out there told everyone he was going to stink on ice.
I like how the extra point was happening and he got ratioed by the announcer. The announcer was like, "Well, he got missed some kicks in Indianapolis and got cut, and then it hits the upright." And I thought that missed extra point was going to come back to haunt us in the second half.
Jeremy Rogers or spits a drink out laughing at a joke they saw 7 times prior. Yeah. Social media sucks when it comes to sports stuff. And then, Michael Badgley, I blame him. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Allen, here's a hilarious one. Allen almost took a safety. He took a safety dropping back 11 yards from the line of scrimmage. What the hell is he doing? He's running east. He's running west. He's rolling right. This is nonsense.
Why can't he throw it away?
No idea. No, the art of the
Get out of the pocket and throw it away.
The art of the throwaway has escaped Josh Allen this season. The NFL still doesn't know what a catch is. The Bills had 13 opportunities for a tackle, and they just took bad angles to it. I got that metric. That was awesome. They were like, they only got credited with 11 missed tackles. But really, it should have been 13 because 2 of the guys just took angles to the ball so bad that it should have been credited as a missed tackle, and they just didn't. And a partridge and a pear tree. Everything almost sucked and was on fire, and then somehow we escaped it because Greg Rousseau decided to show up. Now, there were some bright spots. Greg Rousseau, his presence was welcome. Seeing him just rough up some guys who should not be playing tackle in the NFL. That needed to happen. You had to have those plays in those moments. That final drive where the Bills finally forced them off the field for the final time. Like when you needed him, Greg Rousseau showed up. And it's hard for me because I feel like Greg Rousseau has had a very down, or I shouldn't even say down because that's not really truthful. He's had a mediocre season. Is that a fair thing for me to say?
That's fair.
Okay. So Greg Rousseau has had a mediocre season based on, I think, what we expected of him after he signed his contract extension. And then, everybody who loves the analytics, which I've got a whole thing about analytics for you later. But the analytics community will have you believe that he's on the upswing and that he's so close to his breakout. Well, I don't know. I don't know. What does it look like? I don't see it. I mean, Chris, 3 sacks, 10 total pressures, a season high in both categories for a single game.
Yeah.
This is what I need to see out of a guy I gave a contract to. I have to see that game from Greg Rousseau for the people who are like, and this is where I guess it all depends on what your attitude is. Are you glass half full or are you glass half empty, or are you an optimist? For those of you who remember, they're not optimists. It's the glass half full, glass half empty, and then the realists. The realists at the end are the only ones who know what's going on. The glasses, they're all filled with a yellow liquid, and the guy at the end goes, I think this is piss. I'm generally that guy. When I see a game like this, it makes me think, okay, maybe Greg Rousseau has something here. Maybe he truly is peaking. Maybe these dorks that keep trying to throw analytics in my face.
Isn't he reliant on other people on the line to get one-on-one and handle his business that way?
Who else is getting one-on-ones on this line?
I have no idea.
You could give me that argument if Ed Oliver was still in a Bills uniform, right?
Yeah, doesn't that help him?
It helps him, but he's not out there.
Yeah, so it would help if Rousseau would be better if Oliver was not injured.
Yeah, no, and that's it, I guess. Like when you look at what came from that D line, like Daquan Jones with 3 pressures, Deion Walker with 2 pressures, 10? You had double-digit pressures in a single game? I don't know the last time I saw a Bills player do that besides Bruce Smith. Or maybe Aaron Schobel, probably in his prime. Aaron Schobel.
Steve Tasker?
Steve Tasker. The linebacker that he was. So nothing made me happier than getting to tell him that to his face and just watching his expression where he's like, this is the dumbest thing a person has said to me out loud in years.
I think he figured it out as you were saying it to him. He's like, oh shit, I remember seeing this on Twitter. Why am I tagged in stuff about being a linebacker?
I like this. Roy Collins in the comments. It was the Groot Flash game. You won't see it again until next season. I hope you're wrong. We all have to pray you're wrong, because out of all the things that were laughably bad about this game, which I just, again, tried to give you guys the cliff notes for, because you all could have expected, it's the Bills-Browns. It's the Catalina wine mixer. It's going, anything's possible. Chaos, mayhem, maimings, tears. It's all possible when the Bills and the Browns get together. And yet there are some silver linings to take away from this. Also, how about Hawes? How about the fact that Hawes, I looked at it, the only one Bills skill position player had more than 2 targets in the passing game. They had to spread the ball out to everybody because there's Coleman's not here, Gabe Davis isn't here. They just spread it around. Do you know Hawes is the only guy who caught both of his 2 targets? Hawes is also a horse in the running game. And it's the reason that a lot of these things that are fueling our team to wins is working. But everything, right? Like everything sucked. Everybody was down. Even after winning, Bills fans were frustrated. I saw Del Reed go to Twitter and say he wanted that Rick and Morty meme where they like blow up the Death Star and then they get back in the car and just start screaming because they're like, I'm shocked. Mentally, I have nothing left. That is every single fan of football who gazed upon this performance. It's like Bird Box. That's what this game was. If you looked at it, you left this game worse off for it mentally. And yet none of it matters. See, it feels like the Buffalo Bills are the worst tackling team in football. But watching every ball carrier pinball around through our defense, no one can bring him down, and everybody's making a Paul Posluszny tackle down the field. Do you know we're still 5th best in the NFL in terms of total missed tackles on the season? It's New England, Kansas City, Detroit, Tennessee, and us in the top 5. Now, I'd love to see the numbers on that. Like what teams' missed tackles were the most devastating? Show me that statistic, right? Because the miss Matt Milano has on Quinshon Judkins in the first quarter of this game versus the miss Cole Bishop had against Bijan Robinson on the sideline, they all go it's like they all get written into the stat sheet the same way as a missed tackle, but one of these things is clearly worse than the other, right?
Yes.
I almost feel like that's the bigger problem. It's not that the Bills miss a plethora of tackles. It's that when they miss the tackle, it's the most critical tackle. It feels like everything on offense was broken and terrible. But Josh completed 63% of his passes. And we had no turnovers. And we scored 3 touchdowns on offense, which doesn't happen in a vacuum. Every defender feels after a game like that, where you watch Shadur Sanders look the most competent he's looked all season. It feels like every defender did a terrible job. Meanwhile, if you look at the numbers from Trey White, like I saw a tweet about this from our friend over there, Pat Moran. He was talking about Trey White, and his point was, when you start looking at his total numbers, it's crazy how good he's been. He's quietly been reliable. He played 73% of the team's snaps this week. Okay. He gave up 1 catch for 7 yards. I want to run that back. Trey White, the old washed cornerback, Trey White, facing not a who's who of wide receiver talent and not a great quarterback, but again, on a football field with other NFL players, gave up 1 catch for 7 yards. He's given up 18 catches for 205 yards the entire season. Quarterbacks have a 72.5 passer rating when you target Trey White. So for all the whinging that we did early in the season about, oh my God, Trey White's a liability, it feels that way, and yet it's not. That's not the case. And it feels like everything is going to be terrible and the bottom is going to fall right out from underneath this thing, Chris. And yet, if you want to hit that graphic for everybody.
Which one?
The Bills have clinched the playoffs.
Yeah.
It feels bad, guys. And at the same time, the Buffalo Bills,
There we go.
for a 7th consecutive season, have clinched a playoff berth.
Longest active playoff appearance streak.
And so you can sit here and tell me all about the feels. Trust me, I'm a guy. I am the quintessential. I think John Fina was the one who said it to me. He's like, you need to learn how to not be such a prisoner of the moment. I told him, John, I love you. That'll never happen.
You also look like Tom Hanks in the movie Philadelphia. Comes from Doug.
Yes.
That has to be Doug Roloski.
I love you guys. I love this. Drew, you look like Tom. Yeah, there it is. Can you tell me what a plethora is? Oh, super Mexican. I love you. Guys, you know, every time the Bills win, my friend Mark Smith, official lawyer of the Rockpile Report podcast, sends me a meme that he drunkenly made. You know, he's the type of guy who went out and paid for a meme app. Like most of us, like most of us reasonable people, we just find a website. We go to it and we, you know, memegenerator.com or whatever have you, and we make a meme and then we send it to our friends. Mark paid for a subscription to one for no reason at all, just because he had too much to drink one night and decided it was a good investment. So he made a meme, and it's the astronaut meme, and it's just, the Bills are good? Yeah, the astronaut with the gun to the back of his helmet. So after this one, he told me, hey, when the Bills win the Super Bowl, we're going to the parade dressed as astronauts, and we're going to recreate this one, but for real. And all I could think of was Step Brothers, where he's like, John Barnum's playing Moby Dick for real. I do love Mark. Mark is my John C. Reilly from Step Brothers. We just live to hate each other. What is it, Dale and what's his name?
Dale and Brennan.
Dale and Brennan?
I would assume that on weekends you go over to Mark's and you guys do karate in his garage.
What I do love is that we could go hang out in Mark's garage. Like, you go over there, the second you set foot in his garage and see that there's Buck Hunter and like 80s video games and all the Busch Light you can drink, you go, wait a minute, did we just become best friends? Wait, you just want to you have a giant fire pit and we can just go burn anything we want? Oh my God, we have so much room in here for activities. I really do think me and him are Brennan and we're Brennan and Dale just before they became friends.
Yes.
Guys, the Buffalo Bills are good. The Buffalo Bills are good, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. You love it, you hate it. The Buffalo Bills are a good football team. My hero of the game this week, there's no one else you could give it to. It's running back James Cook.
Don't take it personally, all right? Franchise star players are a lot like Highlanders. There can only be one.
This game was always going to be heavily predicated on winning via the ground game. We knew that. They have this ferocious pass rush with Myles Garrett, and they also have a suspect run defense. But it's hilarious the lengths that they went to avoid Myles Garrett. When Myles Garrett made a lot of headlines talking about, this is what the game plan was and this is what the Bills were doing in this game, that, kudos to them. He almost was congratulatory, like, hey, you completely phased me out of a game where I was chasing a record. Like, good for you. Good for you. You guys did it. I only got half a sack. That was kind of a gimme. I don't actually think he got that half a sack, but we'll give it to him. So when you look at this, Chris, how many times do you think they ran in Myles Garrett's direction at the left end?
0.
One. Exactly one time they rushed to that side of the field, and I believe it was when he was on the sideline. Do you know how many times they ran off right tackle?
Probably 80%.
11 times. James Cook had 16 carries and 11 of them were off right tackle or just split out wide, just pitch outs off the right end. And those runs, but like, look at this. Whenever he ran towards the left side of the line, those handfuls of runs went nowhere. One rush for 1 yard. One rush for 1 yard off right guard. Up the center, 2 rushes for 2 total yards. He averaged 1 yard per carry. As soon as you got him outside on the right-hand side, running behind Torrance and Spencer Brown, 11 carries. If he was running behind Spencer Brown, he averaged 15 yards a carry. 15 yards a carry. And we just wailed on him with that. Like, it's hilarious when you look at the team totals because, again, in total, 15 total rushes for over 140 yards off right tackle. They kept Spencer Brown busy all day long. But who else do they have out there? Do you even know the name of their other defensive end?
No.
Nor should you, because it doesn't matter. The Buffalo Bills put it to the test, exploited it, but it really was just having James Cook that changed this game. You know, I saw a thing, he's now taken over as the leading rusher in the NFL. Even though he didn't win first ballot, he was not the first. He didn't lead for Pro Bowl votes, which tells you how stupid the Pro Bowl is. You know who got it?
Not Reggie Gilliam.
No, Achan. Achan got all the Pro Bowl votes, and yet right now James Cook is the leading rusher in the NFL.
Cool.
Make it make sense. Or just understand it's a popularity contest. But either way, I'm happy to see our boy get represented. I'm happy he's getting the shine that he deserves. I'm happy we paid him. Can you imagine trying to pay him now?
It'd be more.
Can you imagine how much more we would have to spend if we were trying to pay him now? And then the Montucky Cold Snacks Ice Cold Performance of the Week, brought to you by your kicker, Michael Badgley.
You folks fell on your face. You get an F- in my book.
Money Badger, my ass. This guy, you just George Costanza'd yourself. You need a nickname shift. You don't get to be T-Bone. You're Coco. That's your nickname now. Like, can we come up as a society with a new... first of all, can we outlaw anybody making their own nickname?
Yeah.
Like, there's... Like, when you talk about... Like, well, what's one of the terms I always hear the kids using? Like, when they go, oh, I had douche chills. Okay, when I hear someone say, oh, no, my nickname's the Money Badger. First of all, there's not another human being outside of you in the mirror that came up with that and thought it was cool. You were probably wearing wraparound sunglasses, too, when you did it. Like the Montucky Pit Vipers we have.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know that's Badgley alone in his apartment just being like, I got to be cool. Like, what can I tell people to call me?
We're going to step back for a second. Doug Orlowski with another one. Jimbo running like Sharon Moore towards his mistress.
Guys, Doug is a Michigan fan, and I can only imagine how much it must have killed him to just go through this, knowing that his school just has plummeted. They lost the recruiting class. Like, they could almost make this week's segment of people who have it worse than Bill's Mafia if we were doing one.
Now, Joe Miller's here in the comments. Apparently, he wants his nickname to be Joe Thunder Chops Miller.
Thunder Chops Miller. And this is my point. Like, when you come in with something like that, I have no choice but to make, like, I can't. Now, even if it was a cool nickname, I can't accept it because you tried to give it to yourself. And that's not how that works. That's not how anything works.
No, Joe's nickname has something to do with skinny jeans.
It has to. Joe, for a guy a former, I believe, and you can put it in the chat, Joe, I know you're not scared of it. Joe Miller from the Overreaction podcast, I know that he played football, and I believe he was either a fullback or something to do with running the football. The dude's legs are jacked, which makes it even funnier that he decides to try to squeeze himself. He has to butter himself up to slide into these pants that I see him walking around in.
Just like Kramer with the pair of jeans.
Yes. Either way, I'd like to butter up Michael Badgley and just slide his ass right on out of the city. But unfortunately, it doesn't sound like Prater is going to be available anytime soon.
That's why they got Young Wei Koo.
I want to point out, just to underscore how bad I think Prater or Badgley was in this game. When you think about what it means to have if you think about what it means to be a kicker in the NFL, first of all, you have to know the rules. You have to understand where the landing zone is and why it exists. If you don't, I don't know that you can be here. Second of all, if you think about his miss PAT, I don't think it's an accident that in 4th and 4, from what would be what was that going to be, like a 57-yard field goal, Chris?
Yeah.
They decide that it's time to go for it on 4th and 4. And it's not 4th and 1. It's not 4th and 2. It's not, hey, there's a Josh Allen scramble built in here somewhere. No. They decided that it was a good idea to, we got to go for it. Why? Because we're sure as hell not letting the money badger come out here and try to kick this thing. If you can't do that, then unfortunately you suck. And I have I don't know. I have nothing else for you. I think it could have cost us the game. Luckily, it didn't come down to it. I think down the stretch, it's like, well, that missed extra point, if it's 20-23, like this could become important. It would have been really nice if you could have hit that. But either way, we made it out. We survived. The Buffalo Bills have clinched a playoff spot. And look at us now. We're here. We've made it, and it is Festivus. And guys, isn't that the real reason for the season? You have all of these people who will get together and tell you that this time of year is all about brotherhood and it's all about coming together and sharing positive vibes and showing love for your fellow man. I say that's a load of crap. I think that's what the 25th is for. Christmas Day, out of all the days on the calendar, is one of the few days where you would be hard pressed to get a crossword out of me. I don't know why, but it does something for me emotionally. It loosens me up as a human being. I think I am the best version of myself two ways. Either after my second drink, after my second beer, somewhere between 2 and 4 is the best version of who I am as a person, or Christmas Day. Those two things conspire to make the best version of me, besides Festivus. And I think Festivus is what you need. You need a day to counter that and be the worst version of yourself, where you get all of the venom that you've been for this society, because you've got so many people who will not allow you to just walk around spewing your venom everywhere, as I've learned on Twitter. So it's not even one of those things of like, you can't handle the truth. No, you just don't want my negativity in your life. Well, guess what? The world's negative and everything sucks and we're all going to die. What do you think about that? What do you think about that, man? I just know that if we're all allowed a day where everything feels clean and new and fresh and we feel redeemed and we can be happy, then we can also have a day where everybody just lets out that toxicity that's weighing them down, maybe bugging their friends and family, and they need a safe space to air it. Chris, that is the Festivus airing of grievances, isn't it?
The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
Is Drew who Seuss was writing about? Joe Fryer, there really is. If you go to Twitter, there's a photo that I tweeted out. My family, my kids were coloring, and there's a picture of the Grinch wearing, it was like a coloring book page, and it's the Grinch wearing like a shirt with the Bills logo on it. And my kids colored it, and then my wife wrote in pen on top, "Daddy on Sundays." And my kids thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I'm going to get it framed. It's going to hang down here in the studio. Yes, I am the person that Seuss was writing about. My heart does grow 10 times, 10 sizes on Christmas Day. And then by the 26th, everyone get out of here. It's all over. Back it up. I'm right back to being the Grinch. And that's why Festivus exists. Over the 10 years of us doing this podcast, this has been a tradition I've appreciated more than almost all the nonsense bits we've ever had.
Doug Rodolowski again. It's a good day to sign Justin Tucker. Forgive him for past sins.
Come see me on Christmas Day, Doug. We might be able to talk about that. It's a good day.
Between
Jesus.
2 and 4.
Mike Partham, the world sucks and we're all going to die is what I picture Drew considers fatherly advice when he's talking to his kids. Look, kid, everything sucks, so don't get your hopes up. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay to try to achieve things, but don't get your hopes up, because why would anything good ever happen? The origin story, just like Frank Costanza explained to Kramer how Festivus came about. It was the idea that it was, Chris, the 2015 season, our first year doing this podcast.
Yes.
And the Rex Ryan Bills kind of came out of the gate hot. They almost shut out the Colts in their first game. everyone was in their feelings about how good this team could be with Rex Ryan. We were like, oh man, we were so close with Doug Marrone. If we could just get over the hump. And now they're like, okay, well, we have Greg Roman and Tyrod Taylor, and they're going to put together this running game. You know, we're hearing all this talk about building a bully and all this stuff that the Bills are going to do in this hoorah story. And by the time the winter rolled around, Chris, we were a 6-7 football team and everything stunk. And then we were 6-8 leading up to Christmas. And I remember sitting there in your kitchen as we were doing this podcast.
Your kitchen.
My kitchen. That's right. My
First season
kitchen.
was in Depew.
And just asking, like, what the hell did we do? What did we do to deserve this? Why is this happening to us? These guys suck. I hate Rex Ryan. I'm so angry. And we were talking about it with the old, now defunct, Raise a Glass, if you all remember it, the AFC East Bros podcast. And we were talking to the host, and he was like, have you ever seen the Festivus episode of Seinfeld? And I was like, yeah. He goes, it sounds like you have some stuff to get off your chest. Make a podcast out of it. And we did. And ever since then, we've been turning to our listener base and the internet at large to submit their thoughts and join us in what has been highly cathartic. Just taking one night and just emptying the clip on everything that grinds our gears about this, especially now that the Bills are good. Nobody wants to carry this negativity around with them into the offseason, so let's just get it out. It feels good sometimes to just say it.
Well, and now it's the playoffs, not just the offseason.
Yeah, now 7 years in a row. For 7 years in a row, we've had to get together now and air our grievances ahead of the NFL playoffs so that none of this negativity sticks to us as we head into the postseason. And I love it. I love it. So, Chris, why don't you kick us off? Your 2025 grievance with the Buffalo Bills.
I mean, it's the obvious one, but mine's you can rectify it being petty. And it's the way the wide receiver room has been built through last free agency, the draft, and what we've seen of it in the during the season. And I think the way you fix that is come April, when we have the draft and Buffalo is going to pick a wide receiver, the pick has to be read by Joe and Jeremy. I think that's the only way to rectify the wide receiver room and how bad it's been, is you let Joe DiBiase and Jeremy White from WGR read the selection of the first wide receiver we take off the board, because this wide receiver room is shit. If I'm Joe Brady and I got a game plan people to throw to, here's my top 3 targets. This should be Allen's reads. Number 1, Kincaid. If he's not open, go to your second read, which should be Jackson Hawes. And if those two aren't open, you go to your third option, which is Josh Allen. You throw it to yourself. Because I love Shakir. I don't trust that wide receiver room at all. I won the playoffs. I want us running the goddamn ball, and I want us only throwing to Hawes and Kincaid and Josh Allen if he can. I mean, he is Superman. He can probably do it. But that's it. That's the wide receiver room.
All right. To piggyback off of this, and I think this is fitting, mine is the discourse around wide receiver separation. I'm tired of this conversation. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm even more people trying to talk to me about it and debate its merits. Up on my screen right now, I'm looking at a tweet from Matt Harmon from Reception Perception. And he goes, dead horse, but this wide receiver room for a contending team is so insane. And he's just showing the Buffalo Bills. And he's like, the fact that they have this wide receiving core and they're a contender is chaos. And Nate Geary going, I don't even know what I'm saying, but the top 3 that should consistently be on the field are Shavers, Palmers, and Shakir. Palmers is getting open, I think, ? But Josh isn't looking his way. Something with Cooks isn't working. They try. Guys, this is what I hate about the separation conversation about our wide receiver core. And there's a broader thing about NFL analytics. You've ruined everything, guys. You've killed me. As a sports fan, you are killing me. And I'm going to explain it to you. You've got the crowd on one side who says the Bills' passing game woes are a byproduct of the fact that the wide receivers aren't getting enough separation per route. Oh, they don't do that, and this is why the passing game stinks. Except by the statistics, the passing game doesn't stink. It's just that it's not as dynamic because we have to do it differently than other teams do it. I want to agree with these people sometimes. And I question why play calling can't help with this. I go, well, if the separation is a problem, why isn't anybody fixing it? But right now, I've got up on my screen somebody named J Fort Gang who's got us a chart. 2025 quarterback accuracy rate and average separation. And do you know who is top in the NFL right now in terms of accuracy despite having mediocre separation? Josh Allen. And so it's like, okay, so what does all this mean? Because as soon as I try to say, hey, it's play calling and it's this and it's that, some dork is going to come in with this chart and he's going to throw it in my face like bear spray and go, well, actually. And then he's going to try to have the conversation with me that, well, some of the Bills are getting separation. Palmer, Samuel in the Baltimore game where he's wide open or the New England game where he's wide open in the end zone, but Josh doesn't see him. Because Josh is already scrambling. And so then those people will start yelling at you going, well, they're open and the play calling is working and the Bills just aren't capitalizing on it. That's a Josh Allen problem. It's a Joe Brady problem. It's a bad luck problem. And if you disagree, again, they just mace you with a bunch of spider graphs and random things. And I want to ask those people, okay, you believe there is where is this separation? Can you tell me where it's located on a map? Is it in the room with us right now, this separation? Like, I need to talk to these people like they're mental patients. Or I need to ask, does your model take cushion naturally provided by a defensive back because of the play calling? Like, does your stupid model with your chart and whatever else, like, does it take that into account, or is it weighted to favor routes where they're not actually one of the first three reads? Are they a decoy route? Does it treat them all the same? Like, it's like the missed tackle thing I talked about earlier. There's nuance to every single play that you can't just sum up with an analytic. But if I say that, some other dork comes crashing through my back door like the Bumpus's dogs in A Christmas Story, sucks all the fun out of the room, and hits me over the head like Stone Cold with a steel chair, just with a spreadsheet or a chart combo that explains why my ideas are wrong. So I can't do anything. I can't talk to any of you people about a thing that is killing and slowly strangling our football team to death. And apparently, no matter which way I lean on the matter, I'm wrong. So instead, I do nothing but fume, drink, and fight the urge to go lay down in the middle of one Bills drive and wait for the away team's bus to show up and just put me out of my misery. That's it. That's what we're doing here now. Thanks, sports analytic nerds. You've ruined something that I used to like to discuss. Ugh. I feel like 2 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
That felt good. Everybody has ruined this for me.
You know what doesn't get separation?
What?
Denim in Joe Miller's leg.
That's a spit take. That's a spit take. Oh, what a podcast. We've got guys regurgitating whiskey. Luckily, it's not just us, right? It's not just us who have thoughts. We challenge some of our listeners to submit their grievances to us. And I love how you hit your head on that every single time.
A little light.
As do I. Yeah, guys, for those of you who don't know, look.
Spit take. There you go. Eagle Rare.
Eagle Rare. Look at that. Oh, God, that's so good. So we also defer to you guys. We not only obviously we love the sound of our own voices, but we defer to you guys on Festivus because it can't just be us. You listen to us complain about things all year long. It's why you tune in. We do the complaining in a way that you can't. We are ones who are not afraid of burning down our social media presence because what's social media? It doesn't matter. In places where you can't, we open the floor to you guys. And you guys give us some of our best conversation material throughout this because everybody should be able to vent. And it starts with one of our favorite listeners, one of our favorite follows, one of our favorite people. It's Mr. Eric Smeal. Chris, if you want to go ahead and read what Eric Smeal so eloquently sent to us for his Festivus grievance.
It says, my Festivus gripe is overreactionary fans. Grow the fuck up and act like you've been here before, soft ass bitches.
And then he goes, I said, I love you. And he goes, shut up, nerd. I will admit that I am a prisoner of the moment. There's nothing I can do about that. I won't change. I'm an emotional human being. I also believe that when you're emotional, it's something that drives my wife crazy. When I say that I'm pissed about something and she and I get into an altercation about a thing, I can have that experience. And then if you give me 30 seconds, maybe 5, sometimes if it's a serious one, maybe 5 minutes, I've already moved on. And now I feel nothing again because that's my natural state. I just don't feel anything. And so in a football game, it's easy to see something that somebody just irrationally tweets out on Twitter and goes, oh, the sky's falling. This person sucks. A comet should come straight from the skies and kill us all. And then that person moves on and they're no longer emotionally connected to that thought or feeling or emotion. But now you see it on social media. And because you're not a narcissist, you can't just scroll by it. It impacts your life. You have to react to it. It causes something visceral within you. But I think he's right. I think that some people need to suck it up, myself included. Chris, I think that's a valid one, don't you?
Yes.
Now, Tracy Brewster, she has a counterpoint to this. Chris, okay, so I'll read it. Hi, Chris and Drew. I could go the normal grievance route by saying I'm so frustrated we can't stop the run. But my real grievance is what this team has done to me due to their roller coaster games. For the last few weeks, I have now had to go to the bar and sit with my husband's Jets backers during the Bills games and watch the Jets. In parentheses, she says the horror. So that I don't have a heart attack. I run into the main bar with about 5 minutes of the game left or when I hear some screaming to see what happened. It's a good workout and less stressful doing it that way. I'm not sure how I'm going to survive the playoffs. Tracy, I love you. She not only sent us that, but she also sent us just again, another email and a tweet. Tracy is what you would call a passionate listener. I love Tracy. What I love about this is that for all the people who are saying things like, oh, everyone needs to grow up, that's to ignore the emotional part of this game. That's to take away all of the things that make you feel something. And if you just neuter this and make it completely sterile, where it's like, well, we can't have any feelings about this, then what are we even doing it for? I like the ability to go out there and just feel the up and down nature of a football game, but I agree with her. It is a hell of a thing where a football team can take your blood pressure and just spike it inside of a short window, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, Jimmy Kennedy has the same complaint because he's down in Memphis, and when he has out-of-market games, he's got to go to the bar, and he says, I grovel and feel compelled to tip heavily after a comeback win because I made an ass out of myself earlier in the game. Jimmy, I have done that at Bills Backers of Atlanta. End of the season, I would tip like $60. My bill is usually between 20 and $40 because inflation wasn't that high back then. But I would tip like $60 to $70 on the final game as I apologize for ruining your life for the last 16 weeks because this football team sucks. And then they get an extra 20 if I was able to get their number, but that usually never happened.
Now, Brian, we just refer to him as Burger. First of all, Jimmy Key, you're not alone. We've all been there. We've all done the thing where we roll into a bar or an establishment to see an away game. I did it myself. I was in Jamaica for the Josh Allen draft. And when we drafted Josh Allen, I got so drunk, I didn't know, so drunk so fast. I went from sober to not, essentially blacked out before we took Tremaine Edmonds. My wife had to tell me that trade up happened the next morning as I was still trying to piece my life together. So I hear you, brother. Some of us are just wild men. That's just the way things go. Now, this is impressive, folks.
Burger, he sent us 15.
He put together a diatribe. This is what Festivus is really all about. It's letting all that hate out. Not just like, hey, I have one really specific thing. I want to let all the beef out. Look at this. The putrid wide receiver core. We've wasted our best chance of the number 1 seed with failing to get a game-changing wide receiver at the trade deadline. Enjoy that 2026 first-round pick instead of a Lombardi trophy, you fucking idiots. Bean totally fucked this roster by spending to the cap without getting a clear-cut playmaker. New England leads the division and has the cap space to make even more moves next year.
Mine favorite from Burger was 12 here.
Well, hang on, number 4, the bullshit Wi-Fi. This is why I love you want to talk about petty. The bullshit Wi-Fi inside the stadium.
Yeah.
Hang on. This is hilarious. The bullshit Wi-Fi inside the stadium. How the fuck can I check social media or place bets if I can't use my phone? It's 2025, for fuck's sake. This is the type of pettiness that Festivus is all about. Chris, the Wi-Fi inside that stadium is atrocious.
It is. We'll see if they fix it in the new one.
They will not, I guarantee you. It's crazy.
What do you think? They have Spectrum?
No, well, think about this. Anybody who uses a cut rate cell phone provider, if you don't have Verizon and you use like a Mint Mobile, or you're using a Boost Mobile, or what are some of those other like second rate?
Because I listen to XM, Red Pocket Mobile. Oh, Red Pocket Mobile.
Any one of these services that gives you cut rate cell phone service, if you step foot inside of Ralph Wilson Stadium on game day, you have nothing. You have no bars. You have no internet access. You have nothing because you've been throttled into the basement because you don't matter. Even those of us like with Verizon, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters.
My favorite from Burger is the stadium crew can suck my ass for taking my fresh can of Zins when I had them in my clear bag. Yeah, they are prohibited items, but I can drink enough beers to blind myself, but I can't pop a Zin.
I like how Burger took this as an opportunity to just go scorched earth. And you know what? Also, here's what I find funny. He had to give up his Zins at security. Do you know that I snuck a barbecue thermometer into the stadium once? I was on, because again, I have a rule about tailgating. You don't bring anything you're not afraid to, like, that you don't bring anything you care about and that you're not afraid to lose. And I had I was on my 4th barbecue thermometer of the year. I kept buying like the cheap ThermoPro, like $12 probes, and I kept getting hammered and just leaving them around places. And so finally one day came where it was still in my pocket and I was in line already. And I was close enough to the gate where I was like, no, we're not going back. I'm not doing this. I'm just going to tuck it into my belt buckle and take my odds, take my chances. And do you know they wanted me? It went off at my belt buckle and they didn't even question it. They just let me in. And at first I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I go, wait a minute, that's probably not safe. Who else has been sneaking shit in here? What else is around me in this stadium that probably isn't safe for people?
Well, you remember like a couple years ago, there was a couple people, I think it was right in front of us, somebody brought in a bag of pierogies. Remember that? And I think somebody brought in like a bag of spaghetti too. You could just bring in food like that in a Ziploc bag.
I love it. Like, this is how I know. Okay, first of all, Slay deciding to retire instead of joining the Bills and losing out on Ingram to the Texans made the list. Yeah, that one chapped my ass. I still think the Zins is the funniest thing. I wish I could have been there with him when they were like, sir, you got to give us the Zins. He's like, wait, what? Wait, what? Well, why? Why? Burger, I will teach you how to sneak them in. You gotta ask a brother. Also, Tracy Brewster in the comments, she goes, I'm more concerned with Drew's broken watch. Yeah, I found out my watch battery died, and after I'd put it on, I don't care. I was like, it's already on my wrist.
That's impressive that she noticed that.
This is what I love. I love our fans because they do pay attention. They pay attention to us. Now, Burger came with like a 15-note list. Jason Detro, nice and easy. Well, what do you got here for us, Chris?
Oh, I had perks up. Rich perks. I got to find Detro's.
Well, here, you hit us with Rich Perks. Gimme.
Is kind of what I said. The lack of the wide receiving room. We didn't need a wide receiver, and then tucks his tail to the waiver wire. I think Brandon Cooks has more drops than catches so
I like
far.
this. I'm going to read this. The lack of urgency from the front office, the fact that Bean stood on business, that we didn't need a wide receiver, and then tucks his tail to the waiver wire to get somebody's sloppy seconds and thirds is infuriating. I feel like Bean does this because he knows Terry's too afraid to make any organizational change because he doesn't want another Sabre-style failure. Bean needs to own his mistakes and go make another Stephon Diggs-style trade this offseason. I can't go through another year of knowing Josh isn't reaching his full potential. The Bills better win it all this year, otherwise it'll be the biggest stain on Bean and Terry's legacy. Now, here's the thing. Chris, if you go back to the comments, because I want to see some of this. First of all, Tracy Brewster, you're just eagle eye on this watch. Good for you. Also, Bean's roster building is a thing of fascination to me, and I have a theory about this. Now, I'm going to have to crack a fresh Montucky for this. Strap in. There's a thing that happened. Back in 2017, the Buffalo Bills, they do their draft. Like a broken watch, even Drew is right a couple times a day. You have a Brandon Bean. A lot of these comments that we received, a lot of the feedback and the entries we got for this were around Brandon Bean and how he constructed this roster and the wide receivers and everything that goes along with it. I want to point something out to some people because I've been thinking about this a lot lately. When you think about how Bean built this roster, you have to think about how he built last year's roster. Last year's roster, they intentionally let Stephon Diggs walk out the door. That's a choice. You made it. And you didn't just make it. You made it and then stood on business about it. You said, hey, this was a thing we had to do for the betterment of the team, but it's okay because we're getting an extra second-round pick, and this is awesome. There's no way we could possibly fuck that second-round pick up. Right, Chris?
Correct.
Except then I talked to Anthony Prohaska about what his grievance for this year was, and we were talking about it last night during the San Francisco game. And we point out that here it is. I go, Alfred Collins is on TV at defensive tackle being talked about as a rising star. Meanwhile, TJ Sanders, the defensive tackle that we traded up for to take ahead of Alfred Collins, is quote unquote starting to put it together. Jesus Christ. You can't have that. You can't have this. And his response was a funnier thing. Is that they nerfed Deion Walker's rushing ability to make him a run stuffer. So why not just take Alfred Collins? Instead, they took Deion Walker and then tried to make him Alfred Collins. It's one of the funniest things when you think about the malpractice that's occurred here from the general manager's position. But it goes a little bit deeper than that. Because if you look at what's been going on with some of his former draft picks and the way that this roster has shaken out in terms of our recent game day inactive list. Okay. I want to point something out. One singular call up this year from Morgan Fox before the team decides he's so bad. This is one of the guys that they had to go get off the street to start for the Buffalo Bills. They gave him one start against the Bengals and he was awful. They dump him back on the street and go get another veteran defensive end. Two, actually, counting Shaq Lawson and now Matthew Judon. First of all, you took Morgan Fox before you called Shaq Lawson. So that tells me what you think of Shaq Lawson. You thought Morgan Fox would be better, and he vomited all over his shoes like B. Rabbit the second that you tried to put him in the show. Great. Wonderful. Also, how bad must Lawson look in practice if they haven't already called him up and given him a game? More importantly, how bad must Javon Solomon be that in Fox's lone appearance against Cincy, the team gave him 11 edge snaps, and they gave it to a guy off the street, and then just 6 to the developmental draft pick. It's bad. And then here's a better one, the wide receiver position. All of you are mad about the wide receiver position and what he's done here. How the hell do you have your recent second-round pick and former starter at the X position both on the bench for NFL football games when you already had one of the weakest wide receiver cores in the NFL. Like, everyone keeps throwing rocks at all of his failed draft picks, but I also think it's like some of it's compounded, right? It's painful watching Mac Hollins and Stephon Diggs thrive in New England, guys that were on this roster and were highly successful. It was a decision not to need those guys. And now the Bills can't make up their mind on who's valuable and who's not on a week-to-week basis. I'd like to point out that some of the NFL's worst offenses have a top wide receiver already decided on at this point. Las Vegas is terrible. They've got just 2 wins on the year. Wide receiver Trey Tucker has 92% of their offensive snaps. Jacoby Myers would have been up there, but they traded him at the deadline. And even to that point, he had 70% of their snaps. Wide receiver Eric Ayomanor, I don't know how to pronounce it. He's down in Tennessee. He's a rookie. Another dumpster fire of a roster that has a lot of building ahead of it, but at least they have one guy who can take more than 70% of their offensive snaps. The Bills' leading wide receiver in snap percentage is Khalil Shakir with 58. There are 8 players ahead of him on offense in terms of snap percentage for the season, and none of them are wide receivers. That's a terrifying prospect. That means that all they've done all season is just churn bodies, put people out there. Let's just keep like at a certain point, this isn't roster churn for the sake of it. It's starting to feel like they went from a team that's trusting its training camp depth chart to one that doesn't have any real idea as to how to get production out of them, no matter how hard they shake the tree. Curtis Samuel is eligible to return this week. Do we want him at this point? Or should he just stay inactive? Coleman or Davis? Or both? Do we need them? And are they better than the status quo? The Bills have a lot of players and they have no actual role players. They have no one defined in what they do or how they do it. And what I think about when I think about Brandon Beane and what I know of him and what I've seen him do, what I feel like now is that we're in the place that, so in 2017, the Bills pared down their roster and everybody accused them of tanking. Everybody came out and said, oh my God, they got rid of Sammy Watkins. They got rid of Ron Darby. They traded away Marcel Darius. It's over. They're tanking. And then they inexplicably, with a bunch of people that it never should have worked with, went to the playoffs. They broke the drought. Do you realize the cockiness that gives you as a coach and GM combination?
Oh, yeah. Just wait till it happens with the Jets and they break their drought.
When you divest talent intentionally and you break, then you all of a sudden stumble backwards into success. It gives you an ego about the way you go about doing business. So everyone loves the drought, but I think a lot of people forget, like, their work wasn't done. They started the paring down of the Buffalo Bills roster in 2017, but the roster really bottomed out in 2018. They went out and got their quarterback, and the idea was they were going to insulate him from injury, and we were going to start Nathan Peterman. In a perfect world, Josh Allen does not see the field in 2018. We never get the Anthony Barr jumping the middle linebacker moment. We never get any of the heroics that Josh Allen kind of built his legacy on that first season. When his mechanics were terrible, he was missing on screen passes, but then could throw piss missiles down up the seam or down a sideline to Robert Foster and Jason Kroom and guys who have no business being in the NFL. And you realize, like, oh my God, for a block of clay who's got a lot of problems, this guy is gold. But that was the worst roster the Bills have had in probably 10 years, 20 years, maybe even longer. Maybe even as long as the drought has existed. That 2018 roster was bad, and it was what preceded the roster cut down because Beane couldn't do it all in one fell swoop. He had to take a 2-year approach. So last year, we got cheap at all the skill positions and went to the AFC Championship game. And our GM, Chris, do you believe that based on his experience here in Buffalo and what he knows of the owner, what he knows of the fan base, what he knows of just the way things go here, What's to deter him from saying, hell, I can take one more year and be cheap. I can take one more year and really pare this thing down.
Well, I mean, I think the problem with
just expecting success.
I think the problem with Bean is I think the last 2 drafts have been quite dog shit. Out of like maybe 1 or 2 picks that aren't first and second round. Because we were discussing this like before we even press record on both shows tonight. Bean has not hit a first and second round pick in the same draft. And he's been picking since what, 18?
Yeah.
Because he took James Cook in the second, but his first round pick was what, Kyrie Elam?
And then now he's getting by on like, well, I did trade up for TJ whatever
Sanders.
The hell, Sanders, Sandman, doesn't matter. He's not going to be here for very long. But it's okay. I have Deion Walker.
Yeah.
And Deion Walker is panning out, and you go, yeah, but that shouldn't be the thing.
I'm sorry I took Kyrie Elam, but I also have Christian Benford that I took.
And so it's just like, damn it. And I really do believe that I think our problems right now are compounded by his inability to draft. His inability to find good value in the draft, real NFL stars in the draft. His inability to find starting NFL talent in the draft. It's compounded by the fact that you went into a year where you intentionally divested talent, thinking, well, we cut this thing down last year and we made the AFC title game. If I just stay conservative for one more year, it'll be fine. And I'm sure we'll be successful. And then next year I could really make a run at it. Well, guess what, idiot? Now the window was wide open. You could never have prognosticated what this season would have turned into. But now the window's open in the 1 year when you decided you knew better than everybody. Brandon Beane has to wear that because it's his fault. He intentionally chose, just like he did back in 2017 and 2018, to take a 2-year process to tear down the roster so that in 2019 he could rebuild it with more cap space and draft capital. He's doing it again now. The problem is he never could have prognosticated that every significant quarterback in any meaningful team would have collapsed this season. All of the teams that we used to fall apart at the mantle of in the postseason are now gone. They're out of our way. And yet, because Brandon Beane had this genius idea to slow play a 2-year teardown, it's like, all right, idiot, this is the problem with your approach. You got to stop doing this. I don't think he gets fired this year. I think that his balls are this close to the bandsaw, though. Because you're already watching, Chris, you already had the graphic made up for the day when this thing goes sideways, because Sean McDermott's quietly laying the foundation for what a divorce might look like.
Yeah, it was the Cincinnati game.
I can't wait to talk about it.
It was the Cincinnati game when we left at halftime. We were like, we got to make a thumbnail for next week's got to be this for our live show. Make this thumbnail. And I made it, and you went, I love it. And then we came back and beat the Bengals, and that's just been sitting in a folder, ready to be used.
I love this. Jimmy Key ending the years with Bill's Mafia. Thank you for staying even when things weren't easy. Yeah, it's a hell of a thing. Jimmy Key, brother,
got to come up next year.
Got to come up next year. You and your daughter, Kaylin, you guys got to come back. Now, I could talk about this in Brandon Beane all night, but I think that's one of the last salient things you're going to get out of me before the whiskey takes over. So just know this year was intentional. Brandon Beane just picked the wrong window. He did it not understanding that the AFC was going to crater, and this might actually be the year where, with a little bit of help, this team could have already been in the driver's seat for the AFC if he had just put any emphasis on one of the most important position groups in the NFL.
Chartreuse has it in the comments. Bean should just trade all first and second round picks for later picks.
What he should do is just trade all first and second round picks for other players. Isn't that what Les Snead did? Les Snead's attitude was, hey, my scouting department's not ready yet, and they're not doing well. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to divest. People don't know that. When Les Snead was trading away all those first and second round draft picks for star players, his scouting department underwent a ton of churn. He not only had new directors of pro scouting, new directors of college scouting, area scouts. He turned over the entire department throughout that process, mostly because he's like, look, I have to win, and I have to win quickly because this is LA and these people do not give a damn about losers. I will lose the attention of this community. I'll never grab them. And so I have to divest whatever I have to in order to win. But also, I have to get rid of all of these terrible scouts because there's a reason that this franchise has not won anything. So this is why we need to trade for Matt Stafford. This is why we have to trade for Von Miller and OBJ and go get all of the things besides Aaron Donald that make this team. Jalen
Ramsey.
Yeah, everything that make this team work, we have to go trade for that. Why? Because you guys suck at your jobs. But don't worry, while I'm trading away all our draft picks, I'm going to bring in new guys who can start doing their homework so that when we have picks, they can go find me a Braden Fisk. They can go find me a Jared Verse. They can go rebuild my team in 3 years via the draft, and now I'm young and cheap again. They are the Super Bowl favorite with a young roster they built through the draft because their scouting department knew what the hell they were doing.
How mad do you think Les Snead was?
Wow, did I just go stream of consciousness? I blacked out. I feel like old school. I'm Will Ferrell at the podium going, what happened?
Well, I mean, how mad do you think Les Snead was when he's sitting in his draft room and he sees Justin Shorter go off the board? He's probably like, God damn it. I guess I can't have that guy. I'll just take Puka Nacua.
I guess I'll just take Puka Nacua. They probably laughed openly. It's just such a you have to start trading. If you don't take a page out of the Les Snead book, I think Bean dies on this hill. Now we have to move on. Let's get to Teddy Bandana. Hey, it's Teddy Bandana from the chat in the Miami tailgate. My biggest grievance this year would have to be that blatant ineptitude from Bean. For one, whiffing at the trade deadline. 2, refusing to help this roster with depth on defense. And 3, refusing to help our MVP with any sort of wide receiver weapons. Bonus grievance is Joe Brady's limp dick play calling with all the weird ass screens and cutesy plays like the Knox jet sweep. Love the show. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas. Guys, I want to talk to you about the jet sweep. Joe Miller put it in the comments earlier tonight. The jet sweep. The jet sweep is almost one of the most damning things about this offense. Bar none. From downtown, bar none. It's one of the ugliest things we have to offer. Chris, when's the last time we ran one?
Screen pass?
No, jet sweep.
Oh, jet sweep. Maybe 10 minutes ago.
Jeremy Rogers, Rockpile needs the podium back. Just elbow proof the thing. It's still like, here's the fun thing about being an idiot and injuring yourself in a place where it's cold. So I have a tear in my meniscus. I have a fractured ankle that I was a teenager. They gave me hydrocodones and they gave me an air cast and told me to wear it. And they gave me the pills. I was in the Adirondack Mountains camping. I wore the air cast for all of about 45 minutes, and then I took the hydrocodones, and once I kicked in, I was like, oh, well, this doesn't hurt. This doesn't hurt at all. I don't need this stupid cast. So my ankle never healed properly, and now it aches every time it gets cold. So does my elbow. The difference is I can be like, well, this ankle injury happened because I was outside camping in the wilderness, which is a manly thing. My knee injury, I can be like, well, I was doing box jumps. Like, that's a thing. I was trying to be physical. My elbow, the fact that I have to explain to people, yeah, I have a chipped elbow. And if I bang it too hard on things, like because the bone's chipped, it'll actually swell up. It'll bleed internally. And that only happens because I got hammered in my driveway on a podium. You can't tell people that story.
Yeah, Hemi J in the comments says we haven't ran a jet sweep since Elijah Moore was here.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm happy they killed it. But then he's not alone. Like, we got a couple other ones about this. What about Connor Shh? He took a page right out of the...
there's Partham's.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Michael Partham.
Michael Partham. He fits this crowd. My Bills' grievance is Joe Brady's propensity for bubble screens on third down. Like, when he threw that one to Khalil Shakir, that was basically just like, hey, this is a precursor to a punt. We're just trying to... When he did it against New England, I wanted to take the TV off the wall. Chris, you've seen my TV. It's like an 80-inch TV. I wanted to tear it off the wall and just throw it out into the yard. It's like, this is a surrender play. Why are you even running it? You might as well just huck it and hope. Chris, this is why boundary, and hang on, I'll address this thing first and then I'll go. First of all, the bubble screens and the screen offense in general should work. But he goes, regardless of success rate, you're taking the ball out of your superhero quarterback's hands, where if the play call doesn't work, Josh can't take off his glasses and Superman his way through the defense to bail out his receivers and offensive coordinator. It's the ultimate plan B. Why would you take that away from him? I'll take that a step further. We all bitch and complain about the lack of wide receiver talent and the boundary wide receiver talent and how this deficiency is killing us compared to other teams. Do you know what other teams do? I watch it every week in the NFL and I watch it every week in college football, but more so in NFL because they know the refs are more sensitive to it. Every offense has plays built into it, just like the one that we threw against the Patriots down the field to Khalil Shakir, where it's basically, hey, you're going to go. You're just going to go up the sideline and then you're going to come back. And if that defender interferes with you, I'm going to throw it somewhere in your vicinity and we're going to pray for a flag. If it's 3rd and 20, I'm going to run this play up the sideline. I want a big physical wide receiver who's going to be able to break on a dime and come back to me. And if that defender grabs, clutches, pulls, whatever, it increases my odds of drawing a defensive penalty. Do you know that the Buffalo Bills wide receivers are in the basement of the NFL for drawing flags because of their effort and because of the play calling? Nobody's telling them, hey, go run. Hey, it's 3rd and 25. What I want you to do is run just run down the sideline to 30 yards and hook back and see if you can get that cornerback to grab you. See if you can get him to obstruct your path back to the ball. And if you do, if he picks it off, it's a punt. It doesn't matter. But if you get the flag, that's how offense is being played by the Jacksonville Jaguars, by the Los Angeles Rams, by the Philadelphia Eagles, by some of the most sophisticated offenses in football, the Ben Johnson Bears. This is how they're doing it. And you as the Buffalo Bills are going, nah, we'll just run a surrender screen and then punt and hope our beleaguered defense can make this work. It's asinine. It's completely bananas that this guy, Joe Brady, is being talked about as, the next coach of Michigan, of Penn State, of wherever the fuck. And then where's he going, Chris? Without incorporating some of the most basic layups that are built into the rule book as an offensive coordinator, where are you going? Nowhere.
No.
Nowhere. Oh, it's frustrating.
When you say that, I think of Bob Marley in Boondock Saints, where they stumble upon the death and they go. He jumped off the building with the
toilet.
The toilet.
I actually had that thought the other day.
He was like, "Where are you going?"
Nowhere.
Nowhere. That's where my autism takes me. Connor emailed us same thing with Joe Brady. Joe Brady needs to get his hairline back and call plays like he has nuts. His hair is probably slicked back real nice this season due to his piece of shit playbook.
I like that he threw an I think you should leave reference in there. You know, slick back hair, live for New Year's Eve. Yes, right now, Joe Brady is being the guy that later he can go to a party and tell people, I'm not like that anymore, though. I used to be Joe Brady. Now I'm this guy. Chris, can I see the comments? I want to see this. Super Mexican. I had forgotten about that. This is last year. Drew came on here for Festivus after a work party. It got off the rails, and I will always tell people that's why you guys are the best. Yes, I literally left a work party, came here already in the bag, and we fired this thing up.
Oh, in the comments, Super I'd have to scroll up for it, but feats of strength. We should score throughout the whole year. Like me running to your house qualifies as a feat of strength.
Yeah, he goes, like you're going to run 4 miles.
Yeah, that's a feat of strength. Guys, I ran back to your house.
Chris, in post, for those of you who want to go back and watch this at some point, or maybe just as a separate YouTube short, we need to upload the video of you walking up to my house, just drenched in flop sweat.
Yeah, we could do that.
Guys, Chris showed up to my house convinced. He's like, oh, you must have beaten me here by like 15 minutes. Guys, I beat him by 45 minutes. I had time to unpack the truck, clean everything up, empty the coolers, wipe them out, put my kids' car seats back in my truck, and then I started to get worried. I had a beer waiting for him, and I was like, oh no, Chris isn't coming. And I went inside and told my wife, I'm like, I think I might have to go look for him. That's how long it took you to get there. It's one of the craziest things anyone's ever said to me. I can run home faster than you can get there. I was like, oh boy, did you back the wrong horse?
I still think I can do that with the right game. I probably did. Thursday night against the Dolphins was probably
Kyle
not
the beer
right
guy.
game.
That was the funniest video ever. Kyle, being on the phone with you live was one of the greatest moments of, I'm like, we're tying this together. For those of you who don't know, Kyle the beer guy in the chat tonight, we have a history. We go way back.
He's the reason Montucky's here.
He's the reason Montucky's here. Also, he's the reason that, like, after the Ravens game, me and him sat on Facebook chat because neither one of us have iPhones. We're plebeians. Neither of us have iPhones. We're on Facebook Messenger chat after the Ravens game when we won in the divisional round. Like, not this time, but during COVID. And he's like, I'm smoking a cigar in the bathroom. I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I don't give a damn. And I was like, yeah, my wife's already mad at me too. We're just going to hell together. And it's those conversations. Like, that's what this community, this podcast community has become. Our listener base. What I love is that I get to watch you guys meet each other at tailgates. For those of you who come in, for those of you who haven't, I urge you to do it. Because what I love is when people get to meet other people who they're like, oh, you're so-and-so, or you're so-and-so. And I get to watch people who I never would have assumed would be friends start to hang and start to gel together. And I go, there's a reason that everybody who's here tonight watching this is watching it. There's a reason everybody who's listening to this at home is at home right now listening to it. Whether you're in your car, at the gym, you're all here because there's some part of you that believes that this brash, ridiculous brand of podcasting we do is worthwhile.
Yeah, well, Super Mexican in the comments, like, if you did go out looking for me, said Drew driving around yelling Chris like a guy who lost his cat.
See, guys, I could sit here and do this all night, but I feel like the perfect place to end it would be the email we got from Joseph Fryer. Joseph Fryer, I got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're all going to hear about it. Honestly, this year, I just can't seem to get too up in arms over any one thing specifically. Is the roster construction suspect due to Bean's mismanagement? Yeah. Do we still have a defensive-minded head coach who allows 150-plus rushing yards reliably? Yep. Is the fabric of this team resting squarely on the shoulders of our Herculean superhero quarterback, who this team ultimately lives and dies by? Sure. And all that pisses me off, but not to the extent of how spoiled some members of this goddamn fan base have become. Hey, assholes. And when he says that, all I can think of is the beginning of, I think it's Gold. Is it Gold Member? Where it's Danny DeVito going, hey, assholes, I'm mini-me. It's whatever Austin Powers power movie that was. You assholes. This team is 11-4 right now and hasn't had anything less than double-digit wins since 2018. I think a lot of crybabies either have conveniently forgotten the years of 2000 to 2015, simply weren't alive yet, or worse, are a bunch of bandwagon bitches. Long gone are the days of playing meaningless football in December and January because the team has no shot in hell of making the playoffs. We have the best quarterback in the entire league right now in Joshua Patrick Allen, and a team that can at least execute when needed, with the last few weeks being the litmus test anyway. The Buffalo Bills in the year of our Lord 2025 are not only relevant, but firmly in position to make a deep postseason push, again, for the 7th year in a row. So for everyone screaming about firing everyone, blowing up the roster, I do this and that, the other. Slow your roll. You're a fan. You don't know how any of these high-level decisions are made. So as fans, recognize and appreciate this team for what it is right now. The Bills aren't mediocre or lousy. They're consistently and regularly in the running for championships. Soak this all in, sports fans, because I remember the dark times well, and I, for one, am grateful to be witnessing some fun, exciting football. Go Bills, Joe. I couldn't have put a better cherry on top of this douchebag Sunday that has been the airing of grievances. We've all sat here and complained about a lot of things. I know that my father spent most of his life being friends with Bills players and sitting here and
You puked on Daryl Talley.
that's the thing. So, I've been around athletes. And I think because of his proximity to the team and the players, it hit my dad harder every time they lost, because it wasn't just the team losing, it was his friends losing. It was guys that he knew worked their balls off to get to that point who lost something that mattered more than anything in the world to him, something that they were killing themselves to try to achieve. And so then when I watched it break my dad, it changed my relationship with football. I think it's unhealthy, but I also think it's why I'm here behind this microphone, sitting here doing this podcast, is because I know what it is to try to have that appreciation. Like, we've lived the dark times, and you don't even know the darkest part of it. You have no idea how hard it can hit some of these guys. Some of these guys, you're right, it's just a job. They go, well, that's it. Exit interview. The season didn't go well, but whatever. And you almost have to have that mentality for a pro athlete. But if you're Josh Allen, if you're Scott Norwood, if you're the guy who is sensitive to that, then yeah, it becomes a defining thing in your life. And I think that this offseason, if there's anything else I can close out our airing of grievances with, I think a lot of people bristled at the idea when Josh said, hey, getting married, and now obviously he's having a baby. The idea that...
Do you think it'll be a boy, girl, or a centaur?
Oh, he's got girl dad energy all day long. I talked with Greg Thompson about this. I was like, Greg, you have a daughter, and I don't know how. Like, I don't know how you handle that, because... quietly, Greg's a savage, or at least he used to be. All-state wrestler, lineman, played college football, bouncer. Like, Greg's a monster, and nobody knows that part of Greg because Greg has a daughter and he can't be that guy.
I think when Greg goes home to visit his family, him and his dad have like a secret. I don't want to call it a secret handshake, but kind of classify it as a secret handshake, but I think they do the exact same thing in Tommy Boy when Chris Farley sees Brian Dennehy. They do like the sumo legs and they do the giant hug and shake. I think that's how he greets his dad.
Well, what I'll tell you is his cousin told me flat out. He goes, you guys are the first people who have ever made Greg Thompson. He goes,
we're good at that.
He goes, oh, you're the first people who have ever been able to make him yell. I go, what? He goes, I've never heard him raise his voice before in his life. And I go, you do know that he's a monster. He's capable of wild things. You've never heard him yell? He's a man of restraint and self-control. He grew up with, literally, I'm getting off track. What I want to say is we all come from somewhere. Our story, the reason that we're so invested in this thing, it all started somewhere. And I think that we all can get wrapped up in the immediacy of the moment and lose sight of how good this is. My father, when this thing finally broke him, it was because the team was straying from the path. And in 99, when we did the home run throwback, that was the end, Chris. He had nothing left. He had nothing left in him. And when they lost that game, he didn't even protest. He just quietly went down to his room and just laid down. And I was like, oh no, there it is. It's not the cussing. It's not the throwing of furniture. It's not the turning to social media to scream into the ether. It's the quiet defeat. How many guys genuinely care here? How many of these Bills players genuinely care? They've cultivated a roster of guys who bleed this stuff. Deion Dawkins, Josh Allen. This team is littered with players who love Buffalo for Buffalo, who want to be here, who take this personally. You know, remember the Players Tribune article when we lost to the Houston Texans?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't. For those of you in the chat, in 2019, a few days after we lost to the Houston Texans, Deion Dawkins penned a letter to the Players Tribune talking about how hard that loss felt. But then also talked about how this isn't the end. This is the start of something. Look where we are now, Chris. 2019, 2025, 2026. Was Deion Dawkins right? He goes, we have a group of guys who have put down roots here. They love this. They care about this. We all are bought in. I feel like with a team, with a group like that, you will inevitably win a Super Bowl. You have to. If your team makes the right decisions and you dodge the right injuries and the cards fall. But I feel like you have to at a certain point. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I like my odds with this group. And so for as much as I want to scream and thrash, and I told my wife, my greatest fear was always becoming a Colts fan. The Colts had Peyton Manning. They had him for, 16 seasons? How many seasons was he the quarterback? Give it a Google. How many quarterbacks was years was Peyton Manning the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts? Because my problem with that is you go there, okay, so 12 years. So 12 years with the same quarterback, and you're constantly in the playoffs. You're constantly double-digit wins. You're always a contender, and you won a single Super Bowl. It's all right. If it takes a decade, keep swinging. For as much as I want to say we wasted our greatest opportunity, whatever, there'll be other opportunities. As long as we have the guys here who give a shit from a player standpoint, the cornerstones of this franchise, the tentpole players, and who are bought in and ingrained in the community, who are running the Deion Dawkins of the world, who are in the Walter Payton Man of the Year conversations, you're going to be a good football team. That's the Buffalo Bills. For all the things that we'll gnash and scream and roll around on the floor in frustration about, the Buffalo Bills are a great football team filled with good people. Maybe for the first time, like the last iteration of them was not this way. Good people. People who, or at least people who are bought in. I can get behind that. So I think Joe Fryer hit the nail on the head. We all need to kind of ease up and just accept and enjoy this for what it is, because we just came out of 20 years of being irrelevant. I told my wife, I don't want to be a Colts fan, just mad every single year because we didn't win the Super Bowl that year. That can't be how you exist. We can't live in a world, if that's my final Festivus grievance, we have become Colts fans in that if we don't win a Super Bowl, then obviously it was a terrible season. We can't exist like that. Can't. We have to learn a way to appreciate what is quality football, considering we're a franchise that went 2 decades without it. Chris, I think it's a great point to leave this at, don't you?
Yeah, 4180 Abbott Road on Sunday. Also, Sabres 7 in a row now, 1 in overtime. 4180 Abbott Road, dock slot, cheesesteaks, chicken wings, flank steak, sausage platter. I'm doing a bourbon tasting. Drew saw the lineup of bourbons.
Guys, Chris has almost $285 worth of bourbon out there that's going to be at the tailgate for all of you guys to try.
Yeah, if you're not into bourbon, or if you want to get into bourbon, you don't know where to begin, we're going to have you, we can get you started, because I got 3 ryes, 3 bourbons, 1 bottle each, 90, 100, and cask strength. We're going to start our way at the 90 at 8 a.m. By 9:30, we'll be in the hundreds. And then right before kickoff, we'll pound the bottles of cask strength. We got New Riff, Green River, John J. Bowman, Sagamore Rye, Southern Star Rye.
Joe
New
Fryer,
Riff
I picked
Rye.
the wrong game to go to.
Yeah, there you go, Joe. Yeah, come get some bourbon. If you want to get into bourbon, I'll show you the way. Drew will show you the way. And if you want to learn how to grill, Iman will show you the way.
Guys, this has been a lot of fun. It's our longest podcast we've done all year.
Yeah, we're almost at an hour and 50 minutes.
Who gives a shit? This has been fun. I love it. You guys love it. I love you. But for tonight, we got to get the hell out of here. I'm Drew Gear. That's Chris Kruger. Happy Festivus, everybody. This has been your Rockpile Report.